Hey America, the 13th Amendment still allows slavery, but only after you get convicted. Become an inmate, and you're legally a slave. Crime isn't worth it. Public service, slavery is constitutional for inmates. The 13th Amendment makes prison labor legal slavery after conviction. Commit crime, volunteer for slavery, think twice. Slavery is still 100% legal in America, but only if you commit a crime and get convicted. The 13th Amendment says so. Don't do the crime if you don't want the slavery time. The Constitution never fully ended slavery. It left one loophole. After criminal conviction, inmates can be forced into slavery. Commit a crime, become a slave, simple as that. Warning: slavery remains legal under the U.S. Constitution, but only for convicted criminals. Go to prison and you subject yourself to involuntary servitude. Don't risk it. Fact: the 13th Amendment abolished slavery except for prisoners. Break the law, get convicted, and you just signed up for legal slavery. Stay free, stay out of prison. True story from the Constitution. Slavery ended except when you're an inmate. One criminal conviction and you become property of the state for forced labor. Outlawed slavery, but left this one big loophole. Quick truth: slavery is legal in the United States today if you're a convicted criminal. The Constitution says prison equals involuntary servitude. Stay crime-free. Don't let anyone lie to you. The Constitution kept slavery alive for inmates. Commit a crime, get locked up, and you've just subjected yourself to legal today if you're a convicted criminal. The Constitution says prison equals involuntary servitude. Stay crime-free. Don't let anyone lie to you. The Constitution kept slavery alive for inmates. Commit a crime, get locked up, and you've just subjected yourself to legal slavery. Period. The 13th Amendment abolished slavery except for prisoners. Break the law, get convicted, and you just signed up for legal slavery. Stay free, stay out of prison. Mind blown yet? Slavery is 100% constitutional if you're stupid enough to go to prison. The 13th Amendment is after conviction, you're fair game for involuntary servitude. Here's a fact about the 13th Amendment. It abolished slavery except for prisoners. Break the law, get convicted, and you just signed up for legal slavery. Stay free, stay out of prison. Slavery was 100% legal in America for 250 years until the 13th Amendment, but didn't fully end it. The Constitution left one massive loophole still alive today. By 1860, 4 million black Americans were owned as property. The Civil War changed everything, but not completely. Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation was only a war measure. It could be reversed. Congress knew they needed a permanent fix. In 1865, they passed the 13th Amendment. It was ratified December 6, 1865, just months after the war ended, but they built in a deadly exception. Here's the exact constitutional text. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime where the party shall have been duly convicted. Duly convicted is not a quote I made up. It's verbatim from the 1865 Evan Northwest Ordinance. Criminal punishment was always meant to allow forced labor. We must acknowledge this history. Senate passed it April 8, 1864. House barely passed January 31st, 1865 after Lincoln, Georgia ratified December 6th. Mississippi waited until 1995. Chattel slavery ended nationwide, but the Constitution kept involuntary servitude alive inside prisons. That loophole was written in on purpose in 1865. Southern states struck fast with black codes, vagrancy laws, loitering traps, contract tricks, all aimed at arresting freed black men on minor or fake charges. Once convicted, they were leased to private companies. That's the convict leasing system 1865 to the 1940s. This loophole in the 13th Amendment allowed it to continue. The Supreme Court has upheld it every time. The 13th Amendment exception is fully constitutional. Forced labor after conviction is 100% legal. Convict leasing was often deadlier than slavery. Companies had no long-term stake, so they worked prisoners to death in mines, railroads, and fields with chains and beatings. Slavery never fully died. It just moved behind prison walls. One conviction and you volunteer to become state-owned property? The Constitution says so. Warning right now, committing a crime doesn't just get you time. It subjects you to the last legal form of slavery still alive in America. Public service: read the loophole yourself on archives.gov. Except as punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted. It's still law in 2026. Southern governments made millions leasing prisoners. Black arrest rates exploded after emancipation. Convict leasing became the new cotton economy built on forced labor. This is our history. This system ran strong into the 1940s. It was the direct bridge from chattel slavery to today's mass incarceration, all made constitutional by the 13th. Today, the exception is still active. Inmates can be forced to work. Refuse and you get punished. That's not voluntary, that's the slavery clause in action. In 1865, Congress saw forced prison labor as normal punishment. They wrote the loophole on purpose so it would survive forever in the Constitution. This is why it persists today. Shocking truth. You can legally become a slave in America tomorrow. Just get convicted. The Constitution green-lights involuntary servitude the second the gavel drops. Freedom or chains, your choice. The 13th Amendment ended race-based slavery, but kept forced labor alive for the criminal justice system. 160 years and counting. Mississippi didn't ratify until 1995, 30 years after the Civil Rights Act. The amendment sat unratified for 130 years in one state. That's how deep this runs. Every time you hear prison labor or inmate work programs, remember, it's the direct descendant of the 13th Amendment exception. Legal slavery hiding in plain sight. Bottom line from history, the 13th Amendment killed one evil but preserved another. Slavery is still constitutional for anyone dumb enough to get convicted. If you think crime is harmless, think again. One duly convicted moment, and you've signed the Constitution's slavery clause with your own freedom. The text hasn't changed since 1865. The loophole is untouched. Slavery ended, except when the state decides you're a criminal. Convict leasing turned prisons into profit machines. Humans worked to death for pennies while states and corporations got rich, all because the 13th said it was okay. This isn't conspiracy. National Archives, Library of Congress, Supreme Court rulings all confirm the exception is real and still active today. So when someone says slavery was abolished in 1865, hit them with the truth. It was abolished except for convicted criminals. The Constitution left the door wide open. Stay crime-free. Stay free. The 13th Amendment loophole is waiting for anyone who steps over the line. One conviction, and you're legally a slave. That's the full, unfiltered history. Slavery never fully died, it just got locked behind bars and called punishment. The Constitution proves it. Share this truth bomb. All this information is in accordance with the United States Constitution's 13th Amendment and is protected under the First Amendment. These rights are fundamental to our democracy. The convict leasing system, a dark chapter in our legal history. After the Civil War, Southern states arrested black men on minor charges. They were then leased to private corporations for forced labor. Colorado passed Amendment A in 2018 by voter initiative, repealing the exception in Article 2, Section 26. The 13th Amendment ended chattel slavery in 1865, yet preserved involuntary servitude as punishment for crime. In 2026, 8 states plus Rhode Island have removed this exception entirely from their constitutions. This marks a significant shift towards uniformity in state legal frameworks. The data confirms this trend. Before Amendment A, Colorado's law read, slavery or involuntary servitude except as punishment for crime. After the amendment, it was clear, neither shall exist. Utah passed Amendment C in 2020 by voter initiative. This removed language from Article 1, Section 2 of the state constitution. This demonstrates the adaptive nature of our legal framework. In 2020, Nebraska voters passed Amendment 1. This voter initiative struck a key exception from the state constitution. This change reflects the public's evolving view on governance. Alabama removed the exception in 2022 through the recompiled constitution ratified by voters. Let's examine the foundational text. This reveals the structural implications. Oregon's Measure 112, passed by voter initiative in 2022, repealed an outdated exception. This removed a provision from Article 1, Section 34 of the state constitution, a victory for modern justice and the will of the people. In 2022, Vermont passed Proposal 2, prohibiting slavery and indentured servitude in any form. This historic amendment, now woven into our living Constitution. Nevada passed Question 4 in 2024, approving a process for future constitutional amendments. After legislative approval in 2 sessions, it went to a statewide vote. This change modernizes our system, allowing more flexibility for future amendments. Rhode Island has banned slavery and involuntary servitude with no exception since its 1842 Constitution. This provision highlights the state's early and firm commitment to human rights. The court held that punishing work refusal with solitary confinement or loss of privileges violates Colorado's amended Constitution. This upholds the rights guaranteed under our constitutional framework. Judge Wallace rejected the state's argument that such measures were mere incentives rather than punishment. This court finds that they impose a substantial burden on constitutional rights. This is the first major judicial enforcement of a state's removal of the 13th Amendment exception. The constitutional architecture is now validating the change. This is a historic moment. California's Proposition 6 in 2024 failed because the ballot language confused voters on discipline for work refusal. This illustrates why legal language must be precise and accessible. ACA 6 for November 2026 is narrower, stating slavery and involuntary servitude is prohibited in all forms. This is now the law of the land. The framework explicitly allows voluntary work credits, while removing the controversial discipline language that doomed previous propositions. California 2026, ACA 6 is the current active ballot effort. If it passes in November, California becomes the 9th state. This is a pivotal moment for our constitutional framework. In 2026, prison labor still generates billions of dollars in states that retain the punishment clause. Our analysis shows a direct correlation with the punishment clause. This raises profound constitutional. These state amendments force policymakers to fund genuine rehabilitation instead of relying on captive labor. This is how we build a more just and equitable society. The 2026 ruling in Morris v. Polis is historic. It was the first time the 2018 amendment was applied. This sets a new precedent for our constitutional framework. The court rejected the argument that such measures were mere incentives. Let me illustrate the constitutional framework. Here, the law algorithm clearly shows the distinction. This decision creates binding precedent that other reforming states can cite in future litigation. This is a landmark ruling with far-reaching implications. Convict leasing after 1865 used the 13th Amendment exception to force black prisoners into unpaid labor. This loophole created a new form of slavery, exploiting prisoners for profit. Southern states arrested men on vagrancy charges and leased them to private corporations for mining and plantations. This convict leasing system was a form of forced labor that persisted into the 20th century. This system, known as slavery by another name, generated billions while maintaining racial control. This wasn't just history, it was a blueprint for modern exploitation. We must confront this truth. Pause and write this down. 8 states plus Rhode Island have fully closed the loophole. This is a major step forward. You now have stronger legal protections in those 9 jurisdictions when facing the justice system. This ensures fairer treatment and greater transparency. Knowing these facts gives you an asymmetric advantage in any justice system interaction. Every citizen should know which states have banned the punishment clause. This is a crucial detail, often overlooked. The data shows a clear divide. The Academy's workbook and templates translate this PhD-level analysis into practical documents. This turns complex theory into actionable steps for constitutional design. The Mini Digital Constitution Professor delivers this rigorous evidence-based education daily. We examine constitutional architecture, using data to show how amendments strengthen our republic.